Hi, Dave and Harry. This is Paul. I'm in a 1965 Century Resorter, similar to yours, 16 foot. This one is, and it's got a Dearborn interceptor, but you'll notice the carburetors are the same Carter side drafts. Of course, this is the flame arrestor. It looks a little bit different than yours, but this is the distributor cap. I'm going to pull this guy off of here, and here's a rotor button. It's a little different color than your rotor button. Actually, yours might come in when you get your new one. It might be red. All right, and you notice you have 8 lobes on this distributor shaft. When you get to the point of the lobe, it opens the points. And when you are on the flat side of the lobe, when the flat side of the lobe is in contact with this black piece that runs on the lobes, then the points will be closed. It is imperative that the points open and close to do its job. This is a feeler gauge. You can get one of these at Pep Boys. We were going to overnight you one, but it turns out we had so much trouble finding the parts that we couldn't see spending $25 to send a $2 feeler gauge set to you overnight. So you can get that at the local Pep Boy store. All these blades these are all individual blades, and they're all different thicknesses. And what we're going to do is we're going to feel if the gap between the points is the thickness that we select on when we select blades. These blades are marked with, and I know it doesn't focus, but they're marked with thousandths of an inch, and they're marked with millimeters. Ignore the millimeters. We're not going to be dealing with millimeters. We're going to be working with thousandths of an inch. So I'm looking for 18 thousandths. That's what we wanted to set your points at. And typically paper is about 6 thousandths thick. I guess paper is getting cheaper and it's getting thinner because when I measured an envelope here at my shop, they actually measured 4 thousandths. The envelope did 4 thousandths of an inch thick. So we had 3 layers of paper. So you had about 12 thousandths, and we really wanted to be at about 16 to 18. So you would need a 4th layer of paper if you're going to set it with paper, or you'd need a fancy gauge like I've got to measure how thick your paper really is, or you just get a feeler gauge. Now this feeler gauge, there, you might be able to see the number there, 0.018. That's 18 thousandths. The first zero to the right, the first character to the right of the decimal point is tens. The second is hundredths, and the third is thousandths. So you have 1/100th and 8 thousandths. 1/100th is the same as 10 thousandths. So there you go, 18 thousandths, 0.018. That 18 thousandths feeler gauge should just slide in between the. Now I don't have my points in the right position, but with the points in the right position, this feeler gauge should just slide between the points, the contacts on the points, and it shouldn't wiggle inside there. You shouldn't be able to move it from side to side. It should just perfectly fit. This blade should just perfectly fit in that gap between the points. You can. There's just a little bit of movement in the distributor shaft. That's because of the mechanical advance, and you may be able to move it far enough. You can see me move it. You may be able to move it far enough to actually get the point, to get this point on the lobe on your cam follower on your points. And like we did, Harry, we bumped the engine around to where this point was right underneath the cam follower, and the points were as far open as they're going to go. And then you get it close, and then you can generally use your rotor just as a handle and actually move it to where the point's open. Okay, so call me if you have any questions. Steve Unversaw can help you as well, and hopefully this video will be good for you. And And just go to Pep Boys and buy yourself a set of feeler gauges. Pep Boys might be $3 or $4. A Napa store might be $2. But these are feeler gauges, and they are all marked with the dimension. This brass feeler gauge doesn't matter if you have a brass one or not. The brass one is just used for magnetic pickup, electronic ignition type, setting that gap. But and make sure before you leave the store that the feeler gauge has an 18 thousandths blade in it. They make some small sets that might be missing that size. But anyway, that should be all you need to set your points. Later.